Hi, I am Gabriel Garcia, and I will be presenting a house for Mr. Biswas, and I will be talking about a particular topic, which is his emotional state throughout the course of the story. Uh, and here I'll go discussing each quote and each explanation behind each said quote in my own words. First quote: how terrible it would have been at this time to be without it, to have died among the Tulsis, amid the squalor of that large, disintegrating, and indifferent family, to have left Shama and the children among them in the one room, or worse, to have lived without even attempting to lay claim to one portion of the earth, to have lived and died as one had been born, unnecessarily and unaccommodable. The mention of a living without attempting to claim one's portion of the earth highlights Mr. Biswell's fear of living a life without a purpose, an accomplishment. The phrase unaccommodable suggests a lack of belonging and fulfillment. This reflects his desire for personal growth, progress, and a sense of belonging in the world. Overall, Mr. Biswell's emotional state, as described by Naipaul, is one of fear, concern, and deep-seated desire for stability, independence, and purpose. He recognizes the value of having a house and the potential hardships he should have faced without it, emphasizing his gratitude for his life he has built. Next quote. And so Mr. Biswas was to leave the only house to which he had some right. For the next 35 years he was to be a wanderer with no place he could call his own, with no family except that which he had to obtain to create out of engulfing engulfing world of the Tutsis. For with his mother's parents dead, his father dead, his brothers on the state of felicity, Dihati as a servant in Tara's house, and himself rapidly growing away from Bapti, who has broken, became increasingly useless and impenetrable. It seemed to him that he was really quite alone. This quote shapes a significant turning point in Mr. Biswell's life and highlights his emotional state of loneliness and isolation. The quote begins by stating that Mr. Biswell is leaving the only house to which he believes he has a rightful claim. This suggests that he is leaving behind a place that holds sentimental value, represents a sense of belonging and security for him. He no longer has a home and is described as having no family except one he attempts to create out of the Tulsis, the family he marries into. This suggests a sense of isolation and the difficulties he faces in forming meaningful connections. 3. Mr. Biswas, too, was waiting for improvements, but he did not greatly care about them. For him, Church Hills was an adventure, an interlude. His job made him independent of the Tulsis, and Short Hills was an insurance against the sack. It also provided an opportunity to save, an opportunity to plunder, and secretly he was plundering. Half a dozen oranges at a time, half a dozen avocados, pears, or grapes, or lemons, sold to a cafe keeper in St. Vincent Street, with some story about the variety of fruit trees he has in his backyard. The money was little, but regardless, the thrill of plundering, delicious plunder, the very sound of the word excited Mr. Biswas. Short Hills is described as an adventure, an interlude for Mr. Biswas, suggesting that he sees the house as a temporary phase of his life rather than a permanent home, but in spite of that, he is happy. His job provides him with a sense of independence from Tulsi's family he marries into. Short Hill serves as a form of security for him, acting as insurance against the possibility of losing his job. The role provides him with an opportunity to save money, which significantly which significant which is significant considering his financial struggles. However, the most intriguing aspect of the code is Mr. Biswas' secretive act of plundering. He steals fruits from trees in his backyard, such as oranges, avocados, pears, grapes, and lemons, and then sells them to a cafe keeper, fabricating a story about the variety of fruits trees and that he owns. The money gained from this activity may be little, but his steady and thrills plungers excites Mr. Biswas. Number five, sorry, four. I'm going to get a job of my own. I'm going to get my own house too. I'm finished with this. When Mr. Biswas speaks these words to his mother, Betty, his emotional state is one of frustration, dissatisfaction, and anger. He has endured a long period of abuse by his mother's family, which he lives with, while being sent to work in various places by his aunt, Tara. He feels trapped, made to feel inferior. This emotional state has likely built up over time, leading to a breaking point for Mr. Biswas by declaring his intention to get a job on his own and save his own house, and save to have his own house. Mr. Biswas is asserting his independence. He is no longer willing to rely on them for his livelihood or housing, and he is determined to establish his own identity and agency. This declaration signifies a significant shift in Mr. Biswas' mindset, as he is ready to take control of his own life and make his own decisions. Number five, he comprehended the city whole. He did not isolate the individual. See the man behind the desk or counter, behind the push cart, or the steering wheel of the bus. Saw only the activity, felt the call to the senses, and knew that below it all there was an excitement just hidden within, waiting to be grasped. Shows his deepening understanding and connection to the city, as he begins to see it as a unified entity rather than focusing on individual people or specific aspects. By stating that Mr. Biswas comprehended the city as a whole, it suggested that he has gained a broader awareness and perspective of the Port of Spain. He no longer isolates or separates them individually encounters, but instead perceives the city as a collective entity, with its unique energy and vibrancy. The also mentioned Mr. Biswas feeling a call to senses, and the underlying excitement within the city. This implies that he is becoming attuned to the pulsating rhythm, potential opportunity the city holds. It signifies a shift in his emotional state, moving from a sense of detachment and frustration towards a growing anticipation and enthusiasm. Number six, and it was astonishing how the furniture to which they had grown accustomed suddenly exposed on the tray of the glory, the street, became unfamiliar and shabby and shameful. About to be moved from the last time, the gathering of a lifetime, a gathering of a lifetime. The kitchen safe, encrusted with varnish layer after layer of it, and paint of various colors. The wire necking broken and clawed. The yellow kitchen table, the tack, the hat rack with futile glass and broken books. The rocking chair, the four-poster, dismantled and unnoticeable. Shama's dressing table, standing against the cab, without its mirror, with all the little drawers taken out, showing the unstained, unpolished wood inside. Still, after all these years, so raw, so new. The bookcase and desk, the typical bookcase, slumbering, a pink, intimate rose on the headdress, the glass cabinet rescued from Mrs. Tulsa's drawing, Mrs. Tulsi's drawing room, the destitute, the destitute dangling on its back, its legs roped around, loaded with drawers and boxes, the typewriter, still brilliant yellow, on which Mr. Biswas was going to write articles for the English and American press, in which he had written his articles for the Ideal School, the letter to the doctor, the gathering of a lifetime, for so long, and even unnoticed, all together on the tray of a lorry. The mention of the furniture being the gathering of a lifetime emphasizes the sentiment value which these objects carry for Mr. Biswas. They represent his history, evoke memories, and accumulation of his experience, with detailed descriptions such as the encrusted kitchen safe and the dismantled four-poster bed, and the raw, unstrained wood of Shama's dressing table, evoked a sense of nostalgia and the passing of time. This quote also touches upon Mr. Biswas' aspiration for and dreams. The mention of the typewriter, which he planned to use for writing articles, symbolizes his desire for a better future and his ambition as a writer. However, the reality of these circumstances is highlighted by the mention of the destitute dining table and the furniture being loaded into a lorry. This juxtaposition underscores Mr. Biswas' struggle for stability and his inability to establish a permanent home overall. This quote portrays Mr. Biswas' emotional state as he witnesses the dismantling and removal of his furniture, captures his attachment from these objects, the significance they hold in his life, reflects his dreams and aspirations as well as the harsh reality of the circumstances he's accepted in his life. Conclusion. Throughout A House for Mr. Biswas, Naipaul intricately explores the emotional landscape of the protagonist, Mr. Biswas, as he navigates through various named places. Biswas' emotional journey is marked by nostalgic relief, loneliness, weariness, anguish, and acceptance. These emotions shape his character, providing insight into the complexities of his experiences and the universal desire for a place to call home. Naples' Naipaul's portrayal of Biswas' emotional state serves as a powerful testament to the human capacity for persistence and adaptation in the face of constant change. Thanks for that. I'm sorry for taking too much of your time, but that'll be all. I appreciate your time. Take care.